to recap, Tori and Armando used to be a thing back in the day before I was cool with either of them. Then they stopped talking because he like humiliated her and kind of exposed her in a way. Like, actually did expose her bad. And so then when me and Tori got cool, we became a sister society. And then Tori, her teammate Rihanna, still trying to love me, and I'm like, oh, yeah, so I trying to love her, and I'm trying to whole thing, and then we got fight. Hi guys, and welcome to the second day of VLOGMAS Storytime week. Okay, so if you haven't already, I highly recommend you watch my last video, because like I said in that video, you're just gonna go ahead and watch all my videos, because I'm giving backstory and filling in a lot of holes to stories that I've already told and stories that are about to come up. So highly recommend that you guys watch all my story times and watch that one, because otherwise it's not gonna make sense, because there's a lot of reoccurring characters, and like I said, a lot of holes that are gonna be filled in these story times and story times to come up. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started, because today we are talking about none other than our toxic friend Tori. So this story is gonna give you the backstory of how me and Tori weren't friends, became friends, and why I have stated in other story times that her and Armando do not like each other. So we're gonna go ahead and get this rolling. Okay, so boom, take this back all the way to my sophomore year. Tori had transferred to our school, so she was the new girl, and she was very quiet. Like, nobody knew about her, nobody knew anything of her. The only thing that I had caught wind of was, you know, I played volleyball, so that was really where like my passion was. That was what got me through school. Otherwise, I would have dropped out. But volleyball was like my it thing. So I was hearing, along with a lot of the other girls on the team, that basically she was just like saying that she was gonna take this spot, she was gonna walk on, and like, you know, girls, sports, high school, all that, it's like a way bigger deal than what it was. So like a little follower, I heard that little rumor and I was like, okay, I don't like this girl. Like, who does she think she is? Like, no. So when volleyball tryouts came out, she was trying out. And I was very mean to her, to be honest. Like, I was so rude to her from the jump, because I don't know, I was just a B word, to be honest. So she was trying out or whatever, and I had heard some things about her, but I didn't really like, I heard things about her that I just didn't like. And not for nothing, the way she carried herself, you guys are gonna see, she liked it too. Like, it wasn't just out of nowhere. I'm not gonna take full accountability, because she kind of did stuff too. So there was like little things that like I just did not like her. So when it came to tryouts, I remember me and her, we were doing like a little drill thing or whatever, and she was basically asking me, she was like, oh, so what's your position? And I was like, oh, I'm a setter, blah blah blah, because I was a setter and I was a really good one at that. So anyway, so I was like, oh yeah, I'm a setter, blah blah blah. And so she had made like a slick comment, and so I was like, yeah, I don't really like you like that, like we don't have to talk, I don't really like you. And I remember that because she always brought that up when we were friends, when we became friends. She always brought that up, that I told her, like, because I don't know why I was like this in high school, but I just felt the need, like, if I didn't like you, I just felt the need to tell you, like, yeah, I don't like you. So yeah, a B word. So anywho, we did not have like a good rapport with one another. She didn't like me, I didn't like her. We kind of basically made it known, like, don't talk to me unless you have to. That's kind of where we stood. I didn't really pay much attention to her. It wasn't that I like went out of my way. It wasn't like a mean girl type of thing where it's like I would, you know, smack her books out of her hand and I would, you know, tell it. Like, it wasn't like that. It was very much like, you stay over there, I'm gonna stay over here kind of deal. So in the midst of all this was our summer going into our junior year, because like volleyball tryouts and all that was during the summer. So during this time, she was basically like popping off. Like, she was getting really, really popular. She was hanging around a lot of popular people. Guess who was popular? Mr. Armando. Do you guys see where this all starts to correlate? Okay. So she was, you know, getting popping or whatever. And at this time, like, I was talking to Blue, so I did not care. Armando was not even remotely on my radar. Did not think about him. I was caught up on Blue. because mind you, this is going into junior year. So during this time, she was kind of like getting a little bit of a buzz. A lot of people were hanging out with her, yada, yada, yada. So rumor had it that her and Armando had dealt with each other. Like, I don't know if they messed around. Like, you know, they were just dealing with each other, talking, whatever. So there was like little hints here and there that she was talking to Armando. But like I said, I was talking to Blue, so I could have cared less what Armando or her was doing, because they were not, like, I didn't care. So fast forward, you know, Blue up and left me, okay? It was, you know, that time where he had just left me or whatever. And I was, you know, still having issues with Tori. Like, me and her, we would just pop off on each other every here and there, you know? Like, she would say something dumb and I would make a remark and she would try to say something back. And so I remember vividly, these memories are so crazy to me. I remember we were at an away game and we were coming back, like, to the school after the away game, and me and her got into a very vile argument. Like, we were going in on each other. She was talking about me and how I had no butt, and she was going in on how I had no butt and blah 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 blah, and I was going back in on her about her acne. Like, I'm telling you, I remember all the comments that were going back and forth. And I specifically remember, like, I didn't know much about Armando at that time, but I had heard, like, they had, like, their own, like, argument or whatever. And so I just remember I threw that in her face. And I'm like, that's why Armando doesn't even like you. That's why he talks bad about you. And so that got her super, super quiet. Like, did not, whatever. Like, I didn't even know, honestly. That was a very, like, that's a very toxic thing about me just in general. Like, I didn't really know what happened, but I knew it was big enough. Like, I'm gonna shut her up. Like, even though I have no idea what happened, I'm gonna get her to be quiet. And that's how I got her to be quiet. And so after that, she did not speak. And not only after the whole issue, like, on the bus, she did not speak to me at all. Like, it was not no frenemies, nothing. Like, it was, she did not speak to me ever since that day on the bus. So we weren't cool. Like, it was like we were sworn enemies. We didn't even entertain each other, didn't look each other's way. It was that. So fast forward, we had, like, I think it was math class together or something like that, where me and her had to be partners together. Like, we had no choice but to speak to each other. And so I was just, like, talking to her regular, I guess, because I was the one that did something to you. So, of course, I'm going to act like it's not a big deal. So I started talking to her regular. And so she brought it up to me. And she was like, I'm not talking to you. Like, we're friends. Like, we're not cool because of what you said to me. And I was like, what did I say to you? Plain dumb. I'm like, what did I say to you? And she was like, when we were on the bus that day and you were going in on me and you were talking about this, that, and I brought it up to her. I was like, okay, so you were telling me, like, I ain't got no butt. Like, you know I'm insecure. I'm over here. I'm 16 years old. You know I'm insecure. And, like, I don't have a big butt. Like, you did not have to say that. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about your acne. Like, since we're talking about things no one can control, like, yeah, I'm going to talk about your acne. So me and her are kind of going back and forth about it. And then we kind of just ended up laughing about it and dropping the situation. After we dropped the situation, me and her started to get really, really cool. Like, we started chilling with each other and, like, we started, you know, hanging out a lot more. And so that's kind of where our friendship started to grow. So to recap, she was dealing with Armando before I knew Armando, before I was cool with her. Right. Well, I knew Armando, but, like, you know what I'm trying to say? She was dealing with him before then. And then me and her got into this big blowout on the bus. And then it wasn't until months later we got cool in math class. So now me and her are good little friends. Like, we're cool. Like, you know? The thing with Tori was she was popping during the summer and during that time, but now she had developed a lot of enemies. Like, a lot of people no longer liked her. And I never knew why in the situation. Like, I heard things about her, but then, like I said in every other video, the person that I knew, like when me and her would talk and me and her would, you know, just be chilling or whatever, she was a really cool person, like super funny, super goofy. Like she was a really cool person. So when I was hearing all this stuff, like she was trying to take somebody's man and she was doing this and she was doing that, I don't want to say that I didn't believe it, but like I just didn't really bring much attention to it because I'm like, that's not the person that I know. The person that I know isn't like that, so I don't really care. Well, like the saying goes, you're only as good as the company you keep. Okay? So now we are fast forwarding to the time of me and Armando getting to know each other. Okay? Now we're going full circle. So we are getting to the time of me and Armando getting to know each other. So I'm telling her, like, me and her, at this time, we're like pretty much best friends. So I'm telling her, I'm like, yeah, me and Armando talk, blah, blah, blah. And she was basically telling me, she was like, you know, me and Armando used to deal with each other. And I was like, what, really? And she was like, yeah, but I don't like him. He's such an asshole. He's so like annoying. I don't like him like that. And she was like, I don't even know why you like him. He's not a good person. And I was just like, really? Because I don't think that. And then I was telling her, really? Because like, he seems different with me.
He seems so different with me.
So she was telling me, and she was like, no, he's like really like a big asshole. And he wasn't talking to Tina. And so at this time, I'm not joking, everybody had problems with Tori. Like everybody had problems with Tori. So when she told me about Tina, I was like, did they really talk? Because Tina thinks I'm fake. She said that I pretty much like took him from her. Like, what's the deal? Like, I don't get it. And so she was like, yeah, they used to talk. Like, I don't know what he told you, but I know for a fact that they used to talk because I used to be there. When I was there when we went to Buffalo Wild Wings. I was there when we were at the mall and he bought her an outfit. I was there. And so now I'm kind of feeling stupid because Tina low-key has a reason not to like me now because I was just going off of what Armando was telling me. And now I have my best friend, Tori, telling me that, yeah, like she was there, like she witnessed all this stuff. So now I'm realizing like Armando is low-key a liar, high-key a liar, but I didn't really know what to do with that information. So, like I said, Tori was already getting, you know, in the mix with other people. So now we are going to bring in another character. So we have Tina, Tori, and me. And now we are going to bring in Tina's best friend at the time, Brianna. I don't know where I'm getting these names from. So on the subject of, you know, taking people's man, I allegedly took Brianna's man. So Brianna is Tina's best friend at the time. And Blue and Brianna were apparently talking, but Blue, you know, chose me, I guess. I don't even know how to word this stuff because like I don't even want to start nothing. Like this is so old, obviously, and I'm trying to say how it happened, but I'm also not trying to start nothing. I'm not trying to start anything in 2022, okay? So I'm trying to be like very, because I know these people watch my videos, so I'm trying to be very like politically correct and not trying to say anything, but you know, we're grown, okay? So just take it as a story, all right? So basically, I had stole Blue from Brianna, and now here I am basically stealing Armando from Tina, okay? So Tina had a problem with me, and Brianna low-key, like, I don't know, I didn't really think she had a problem with me, but I think she found an excuse. Like, she didn't really like me like that, but now that, like, her best friend really doesn't like me like that, now them two have a really good reason not to like me. On top of that, they really don't like Tori, so guess who's in the mix with that, because I'm Tori's best friend. So, as you can see, it's a big snowball effect of emotions against me. So basically, it was me and Tori against Tina and Brianna. So when I'm finding all this out about Armando, I'm just like, what the heck? But now, like, my mindset is like, I have to commit. Like, so what? If they want to sit here and say that I took their man, I don't care. I just didn't care, to be honest. I just didn't. So fast forward, we were having kind of like open season kind of thing, fundraiser. I don't really remember. It was like something to do with homecoming, I think. So me and Tori are on the volleyball team, and I asked Armando to come to my volleyball game. So Armando comes and he's walking towards the bleachers, and guess who's in the bleachers? Tina and Brianna. So I'm walking towards Armando, who's walking towards the bleachers, and I see I see Tina coming down, and she was like, "Hey Armando, you can't speak." And I was like, oh no, this girl is not trying to, like, obviously, girl, you see me standing right here with Armando, like, I know you're not trying to sit here and be messy. He gives me a hug or whatever. I'm looking Tina dead in her face, like, yeah. Dumb, because oh my god, everybody else had the last laugh. Like, I really thought I was that girl. Everybody else had the last laugh. So I did that, and I'm basically like kind of like one up in her, like, yeah, he's not saying hi to you, he's hugging me because he's here for me. Okay, he's not here for you, he's here for me. So whatever, that little interaction occurred, and so I was basically, you know, just like, yeah, and I walk away. So I tell Tori that. I was like, yeah, girl, can you believe, like, Tina and Brianna are here? Like, why are they here? They don't play volleyball. They don't need to be here. And do you see that she was trying to, like, she tried to do that? So me and Tori are kind of, like, gassing each other up, because she was like, what? Like, of course she's trying to do that. She's trying to get attention, da-da-da-da, right? So me and her are, like, going at it, like, talking about what happened. So we go outside to the concession stand. Mind you, we are in our volleyball uniforms about to get ready to play, okay? But we are standing out by the concession stand. And so Brianna and Tina, they were like next to the double doors to like get out, like to the outside. But we're like a ways away. So while they're like walking out from the gym outside, me and Tina were just standing, or me and Tori were standing. I had chose the worst names. Me and Tori were standing at the concession stand, but I'm like looking towards the concession stand, and Tori is looking outside. And so she starts, you know, saying things like basically provoking them. Like, she's just like picking at them. She's saying stuff. And me being an idiot, I'm just like laughing. I'm like, ha 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 ha, whatever. So then Brianna addresses Tori. Brianna was like, what are you trying to do? Like, what's funny? Say it louder, blah, blah, blah. And so Tori and Brianna start going back and forth. So I'm like gassing it up, and I'm laughing. And so then Tina looks at me, and she was like, do you think you're doing something? And I remember vividly, because everybody was out there, I look at her and I was like, I do though, because I do think I'm doing your man. Am I not? Like, I took him from you, did I not? Why would I say that? Dumb, but I said it. So I'm like, yeah, I do believe I'm doing something. I'm doing your man, right? Like, wasn't he supposed to be yours? And I took him? Like, shut up. So then they start coming towards us. So now it's no longer haha kiki, let's talk about it. No, it's not. It's, what are you trying to do? So they come like, so like I told you, they were a ways away, like they were a while away. So they're by the doors, and they start coming towards the concession stand. So me and Tori, we start walking towards them. And then the volleyball parents went nuts. Like, not for nothing, yeah, we were pretty much about to fight, but they like made it way bigger than what it was. So the concession parents come back from behind the concession. They're like, no, everybody separate, da, 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 whatever. And so I'm like getting all amped up. I'm like, no, like, come up here. Like, don't sit here and walk towards me like you're gonna do something, da, 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 whatever. So me and Tori, we're like gassed up, and we're doing it. And so Brianna and Tina are the same way. They're like basically like going off. So we're going off on each other in the middle of this concession stand, but the parents are all in the middle. Like, it was moms, dads, cousins, all that. Everybody was in the middle of it. So then our coach comes out, and he takes us to the locker room. He was like, what is your problem? Like, y'all need to calm down, da, 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 da. Like, y'all need to stop with this. Like, what is going on? So I took that as like, you know, whatever, it's not over. Like, it's not over between us. Like, we had underlying beef, but now it is official. It is confirmed. All right. Now it's me and Tina against each other, and it's Brianna and Tina against Tori. Cause this girl, I'm telling you, I have never, I thought my mouth was bad and I thought I didn't know how to shut up. When I tell you, Tori will go in on your life. Like, she is vicious with that tongue. Like, she was crazy. So she used to get into it with people all the time. And like, I kind of got wrapped into it. But this one, I really got wrapped into it because I'm over here taking both these girls, dudes. And like, to be honest, it was just a mess because Armando done been with Tina. He's been with Tori. Like, what was I doing? Ew, you know? Stupid. So anyway, so the next day comes. I think this was like either they had to be the end of the week or whatever because we were having a jamboree. So I'm over here like gassed or whatever, and not gassed, I'm more like amped up because I'm like, I cannot believe like this girl is really trying to like, what are they trying to do here? Like, what is going on? So me and Tori, we're talking about it, and so Tori was like, let's go to the jamboree. And so Tori had this like master plan in her mind about confronting them at the jamboree. However, I got in trouble. I don't even remember why I got in trouble, but I got in trouble, so my parents didn't let me go to the jamboree. So I was like, dang, Tori, like, you're gonna have to go solo, like, you're gonna have to do your own thing, like, tough luck, girl. Like, and I was basically telling her not to go because I didn't think it was a good idea for her to go by herself, but she said she wanted to go by herself. So I'm just chilling at home or whatever, and so then I get a phone call from Tori, and she's like screaming. She's like, you'll never believe what I just did. You'll never believe what I just did. And I'm like, what happened? What happened? She was like, I just fought Brianna. Like, that's what I just did. Like, me and her got into a fight. Like, we just fought. And so I'm just like, oh my God, like, what happened? So then she hung up the phone. So then somebody else calls me and they're like, yo, you will not believe what Tori just did. And I was like, what happened? And she was like, she fought Brianna through a car window. Like, they were fighting. It was Brianna's car. Brianna was in the driver's seat, okay? And then Tori, I don't know, felt the need to confront her through the window, and they, no lie, they fought through the car window. Like, Tori was outside, Brianna was inside, and they're literally fighting through the car window. So mind you, I don't know what's going on. I'm solely going based off of like what was happening like that or whatever. So then Tori calls me back. She was like, yeah, she tried it, blah, blah, blah. I'm sitting here. I fought her through the car window, da, 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 da. Like, I held my own, blah, 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 right? Whatever. So she's telling me how she like fought through the car window and how everything happened. So now everybody's on Snapchat. This was when Snapchat was like it, okay? So everyone was on Snapchat and they're talking about it and they're going in and they're doing this and they're like, everybody's saying their side. They're saying like, oh yeah, Brianna did that. They're saying, oh, well, like actually no one was saying Tori did that because nobody liked Tori. So basically everybody was happy that Tori got beat up. But I don't really think it was a beat up though. You can only do so much, like, you can only do so much through a car window. You know what I'm saying? So, on both ends. So, you know, I saw people were dragging Tori. So, I'm like, you know, I got to stick up for my friend. So, I get on Snapchat and I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to hear about anybody else. All I know is that Tori held her own. Why I inserted myself in this, I don't know. Well, I do know. I was trying to stick up for my friend because I'm not joking. People were dragging her. So, I'm like, all I know is that my friend, like, she held her own. Da, da, da. And so boom, right? Then Tina gets on Snapchat and Tina and Brianna were on a Snapchat together and they were like, if you weren't there, then you need to shut up. And I don't remember if it was Tina or Brianna. I think it was Brianna that's like called my name out. She was like, yeah, Samantha. And then I was like, oh no, ma'am, like, don't sit here and do that. So then me and her, like, we started going at it a little bit. And then I was basically like going at it with them. But at the same time, I'm like, first of all, I don't even have an issue with Brianna. Like, I really don't have an issue with Brianna. So, because it was mainly me and Brianna that were going at it. It wasn't even me and Tina. Like, Tina was kind of like throwing stubs where she was like, if you weren't there, you shouldn't be talking about it. It was Brianna the one that like said my name. So I'm sitting here addressing Brianna. So me and Brianna are going at it. And so at the end of it, I was like, girl, I don't even have an issue with you. My issue is not even with you. Like, I don't even know what your problem is. I'm just letting you know, like, I'm not going to sit here and like let my friend, you know, I'm going to stick up for my friend. She took that as I was like backpedaling, and she was basically saying, because then she started getting on Snapchat again, talking about, oh, it's all funny, like you're gonna sit here and talk all this craziness, but then when I confront you, you're gonna act like you don't have a problem. So now I'm like, okay, so what are we doing? Because I'm telling you I don't have a problem with you enough to like keep going back and forth with you. I'm not saying, like, I'm not backtracking in the sense of like, oh, I don't even know what the issue is, like blah blah blah, you know, that whole thing. Mind you, we are like what, 16, 17? Dumb. Like, this is why you shouldn't be allowed to vote until you're like 25. Like, your brain is not developed at all. So I'm just sitting here, and so we're going back and forth. Like, this is this whole beef situation on Snapchat, right? And then Tina basically like goes in on my life, and she was like, that's why you think you got Armando, that's why he's with so and so. And so basically she throws in my face that I'm over here doing all this, thinking I'm the hottest thing ever behind Armando and technically behind Tori, and meanwhile Armando is with so and so. I'm telling you, it all started prematurely. It all goes into this whole thing. So after that whole issue with Snapchat happened, when Tina basically like put it in my face that Armando like was low-key talking to somebody else, that's where all my attention went to. And after that is when this whole fiasco with Armando came up. Now, the reason why Tori and Armando didn't like each other at this time was because they basically, like, Armando embarrassed her in front of somebody. Like, they dealt with each other, and then he basically embarrassed everybody and like exposed her low-key. And so after that, she did not like Armando, like, and that's why she was saying that he's not a good guy, like he's really like an asshole, he's terrible, and blah blah blah. So to recap, because I have to keep recapping to make sure I'm on the right path, okay? Tori and Armando used to be a thing back in the day, before I was cool with either of them. Then they stopped talking because he like humiliated her and kind of exposed her in a way. Like, actually he did expose her bad. And so then when me and Tori got cool, we became menaces to society. And then Tina and Brianna, because Tina was trying to, one-up me in front of Armando, talking about like, oh, you can't speak. No, he cannot. So when I tried to one-up her, it kind of pretty much started a whole thing. And then we almost got into a fight at the concession stand. But then Tori ended up getting into an actual fight through a car window with Brianna, and then the four of us got into a whole Snapchat beef with each other, where Tina basically told me about myself in reference to Armando. You couldn't pay me to go back to high school. No, not even like $1 million. No one could pay me to go back to high school, because this is just a joke. And add TikTok and social media influence into that, yeah. Couldn't pay me. No, not $1, not a dime, to go back to high school and deal with this nonsense that we used to do. Because when I tell y'all, this was like the biggest deal in the world to me. Like, it consumed my life. I wish, I think back on all the people that I went to school with, like the quiet girls and like the ones that were really into their academics. I'm like, why didn't I hang out with y'all? I'm pretty sure I would be way more ahead in life if I would have just shut up and hung out with the quiet, academically strong people. But here I am on YouTube exposing my mess for Vlogmas. So, anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I'm going to take a break for today because... my throat, okay? So we'll have another Christmas sweater in the next video. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and stay tuned because I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.